Can you hear me now? Again, Windows update. Anyway, good evening all. Hope you're all well. Thank you very much for coming over and joining us. Hopefully, my internet has been sorted and we're going to have no issues. Long story, but we got it sorted eventually. So hopefully it's going to be good, crisp, on time, no flickering, no stuttering, no jerking, and it's not going to lag behind like it does before. So the reason I'm on tonight is because I'm demoing it this tomorrow and Brian's not coming on, so I said I'll do tonight instead of tomorrow. But it's more of a test for the internet and to make sure everything's hunky-dory more than anything. So the main reason, or what I'm going to do, is I've got a piece of ash here that I've been using for the last year as a demonstration piece. I'm basically going to clean it up and finish it to a finished bowl. so we can actually sell it rather than just waste the whole piece of timber. So that's what we're going to be doing. But like I said, the main thing is to be testing the internet speeds. Did a test before we came live. Everything was hunky-dory, was stable, so hopefully it's going to be good. I'm on my own because Nick's doing stuff in the house, and like I say, it's just going to be a quick live tonight, nothing major. But what I will do is I will quickly read the chat. Excuse me, just had a mouthful of coke before I came out. I'm just going to quickly read everybody who's in the chat, and then we can crack on with it. And then I'll keep an eye on the monitor on the other side of the room if there's any questions. So first in was Colin, then Pete, Fred Gulliver, Mike Evans, Wurzel, Paul Norfolk Hunter, Mark Bailey. Hi Mark. Malcolm Douglas, Roger Kent, Vinnie Charlton, Derek Gibbs, Abrasive Rob. Hello Rob, hello Devil. I hope your holiday's going well, mate. Haley, Haley, how you doing? Haley Wood and Burl. Glyn from Yorkshire, Miserable Git, Yorkshire. Hi Glyn, hope you and Joe are both well. Lucy, hi Lucy. Paul Heighton, how are you? Hope you're well. And I think that is everybody in. I think that's everybody. So thank you everybody for coming over. I appreciate I haven't been on for a while, but life gets in the way sometimes. Plus we've had issues with the internet, so things are a bit hectic at the moment. So I'm trying to grab time where I can. But anyway, that's no excuse. So let's get this on the lathe. There is a small, about 1.5 mil tenon left on there. No mortise left in there, so hopefully I'm going to grab it on there. Actually, no, I'll mount it on the back first and just clean it out and put a little bit deeper mortise in there, and then we'll clean off the back. Not sure whether I'm going to colour it or whether I might colour actually. Do it blue, but I've got a dink in there where it fell out the back of the car. So we'll clean that off, and then we'll just hollow the middle out. So that's what we're going to do. So I'll go over to the lathe, and if there's any questions, put a capital Q in front of it so I can catch it on this monitor on the other side. Other than that, let's get on with this and enjoy. So all I'm going to say is enjoy. So let's get over to this camera. Let's get some lights on. Hopefully you can still hear me. Like I say, it's the first time the computer's been on for about 2 weeks. So what I'm going to do is, it's obviously got a tenon on the back already. So we're just going to mount this in a tenon. Put a light on as well. There we go. And then we'll clean out the mortise in there because it's got a bit of paint in it where I've been slarring paint over it for a demo, as a demo piece. And then we'll start to get it flipped and start turning the back out. So lathes on, I've got power. Let's get some tools and make a start. So we're just going to clean it out with a skew. And we know we've got a nice chucking point. Don't forget, next Sunday, #week, Pete will be announcing that on his live on Sunday evening. So don't forget to go over and check that out. I think I did see Pete put a link in for it a little while ago. So make sure you make a note of that. But anybody who's in there should be on Pete's, or got Pete's YouTube channel anyway, really. If not, why not? Right, so first thing we're going to do is get rid of all this blue. Like I say, there's a dink in here where it fell out the back of the car there. So I'm not going to touch the tenon because I will turn the tenon off. Not necessarily tonight, but I will turn the tenon off. So we're just gently going to clean that off and get that trued up a little bit. Actually, tenon's not quite true, so let's take the tenon off and turn a new one on there. It's not quite true. So like I say, remember, if you've got any questions, make sure you put a Q in the question in front of it so I know it's a question. when I look up. So just a couple of little passes just to remove this little tenon. So let's get a line on there where we're going to put our next tenon. So just about there, we'll make it just a little bit wider. That'll do. So we're going to do a little bit of an edge on that because it is a little bit of a dovetail on the jaws. So just put a little bit on that, not a lot. And then start rounding that off. Evening, Barry. Hope you're well. So start rounding this off. Get rid of the blue out of it. This is a piece of ash. Like I said, I've been using it for over a year now for a demonstration piece, and I thought it was about time that I retired it. There's some nice gentle passes around there just to get rid of the blue, really. Let's get rid of the dink out of it. Hi, Paul, how are you? Hi, Rob from Copperal. I think it's Rob. I'm sure it's Rob. If I'm wrong, I apologise. Norman Greenwell, hi, hope you're well. Alright, so we're nearly there, so I'm going to just try and get one push cut out of that all the way around. So we get a nice push cut all the way around there. Just pick up the cut from the middle there. It's not the best push cut in the world. A little bit high, really. Was it too big when you first cut it? No, it was a lot bigger than 2 inches bigger, Pete. It was a lot bigger than that. Oops. All right. So if I put you on a camera, you can see it, don't want it. So just getting that final edge. I'm just gonna come here and just gently skin that over with my tool. Flute right closed. And then just give me those little angel hairs coming off, and should just get rid of any imperfections on there. Just keep that tool closed. It just gives you the best cut you can get, really. So I'm happy with that. Just need to put a flat on there now, obviously because of our tenon. The foot's not big enough, so we're just going to reduce it up a little bit. If you don't have a big enough foot on it, it will rock on the table and liable to fall over. There's also a slight undercut on it, so it actually just sits on this, on the edge. So I want it to sit on this edge rather than the whole platform. We can finish most of that off once we finish the bowl, but just got to remember though, when you've got an undercut on the depth underneath. So I'm now going to remove some of this, and then that means we can remove some of that tenon. We don't want a huge tenon on it. We want a nice tight transition on at the bottom of our tenon. If not, our jaws are pushed off with it when we mate up against it. And now we can remove some of this. So we'll just clean it up. So remember that nice transition line right at the base there. So if not, what happens is when you clamp it up, your jaws will push the bowl away, and the jaws won't sit against the base of your piece. It's a bit bright. Too much now. What's happened to that? Modern technology. Right, so marks the texture, and Glenn. Because I've got to show you how well sandpaper works. You see, so I have to leave a few marks in it just to show you how well it works. Because if not, I'll lose my contract through Rob. So that's now ready to sand. So let's get sanded up. So I'm starting from 120. Get some extraction on. Oops. Keep it moving. Alright, so the mark there, I pushed the heel of the tool a little bit hard. A little bit of a ghost line. So let's just get rid of that. Right, that's it. So let's quickly get that up to 400. So I'm going to sand the bottom, but I'm not going to concentrate on the bottom too much because obviously we've got to turn that off anyway. But just gradually get this up. So this is 320. And last one, 400. Hi, Andy. So that's up to 400. Let's go on overhead. I don't know why that camera now is. Oh, I see. Why? So sand it all up to 400. Ready for a bit of colour. So question is, do we do white with blue wax or do we do red with gold wax? I'm going to give you guys a choice. Let's blow all the muck out of that. That wasn't the option, Rob. So we've got one for red and gold, two for red and gold, three for red and gold. Four for red and gold. I ain't got that colour, Malcolm. So red and gold, I think, is the way to go. By the looks of it. While you're deciding, I'll get some gloves on. Right, so I think it's red and gold. So let's bring a board in. So let's pick a red. Let's go for a nice bright ruby red. So this is the intrinsic red. Ruby, nice and bright. Give it a couple of coats, make sure we get a nice vibrant red on it. We'll do the base, but we're going to clean the base up afterwards anyway. Hi Stephen, how are you? Hope you're well. Alright, so we'll let that dry. And then we'll see how it looks. May give it another coat yet. A bit of help with the heat gun. Good evening, Tring Creek Woodturners. Thank you, Kezia. Hi Gav. So being water based, they'll take a little bit longer to dry than the chestnut spirit stains. That looks a bit patchy there, doesn't it? That might be because it's not quite dry. Right, Krisky, hope you're well. So what I'm going to do is it's a bit patchy there. I'm just going to go over that again, I think. Hopefully get rid of some of that patchy bits. Might be the way the wood is. It's had that many coats of colour over it in its lifetime. So that, I think, is about the best it's going to get. So let's get some heat on it. Hi Jenny, how are you? Hi Wayne, how are you, mate? Let's get this dried off and we can get some sand and sealer on it. And then we can get some embellishing wax over the top of it. Good to hear, Wayne, good to hear. Let's just turn it on low, let that rotate. So I just got this on a low heat, don't want it too hot. We don't want the wood to crack if we overheat it. No, Wayne, just me. I need to sort something out because they've stopped, you can't use Skype no more. I have found another piece of software to use, but I just haven't had a chance to test it. And to be honest, I'm more testing the internet rather than doing a proper live, because I had major issues a couple of weeks ago on a live with the internet speeds. So that's apparently been fixed now. So I thought I'd just test it tonight. Seems I can't get on here tomorrow night. And see how it goes before we get ready to go back properly. But like I say, as you guys know, I use Skype rather than StreamYard. And they've got rid of Skype. So, like I say, I have found another system, but I just need to play with it and test it. Right, so I think we're dry. So what we're just going to do is just going to gently denib that. So a light bit of Scotch Brite, if I can find a bit. Here's a bit here, look. So we're just going to gently denib that, knock that back a little bit because the grain's raised a little bit by putting moisture on it or water on it, liquid, whatever you want to call it. Don't push too hard because you will scratch it. Nice and gentle. That's knocked it back. So it's nice and smooth again now. So what we can do now is get some sand and sealer on it. But again, that's going to raise the grain a little tiny bit as well. But we can always knock it back a little bit as well if we have to. Thank you, Colin. Hopefully that'll be fine now. I watched the last one back and it was absolutely atrocious. It was glitching in it. The picture was flickering. The audio weren't in sync properly. It was absolutely horrendous. So the worst one of my streams has been for a long, long time. Right, so Cedalo Sand and Sealer, Hampshire Sheens, pre-thin sand and sealer. Nice couple of thin coats on it. Get a nice even coverage on it. We don't want streak marks in it. So making sure to work it in really well. Obviously you can use acrylic or you can use spray, whatever you fancy, but I'm using wipe on. I prefer wipe on. Plus this tin needs using up because I've had it quite a while and I had to thin it down a little bit the other day because it was a little bit thick. Right, so that'll do. Just let that flash off a little bit. Then we'll just buff that back a little bit. I would use shavings, but there's none on the floor, so we can't use shavings. So we'll use a piece of tissue. Just push a little bit of pressure on it. Jenny, this is pre-thinned sand and sealer from Hampshire Sheen. But if I'm doing chestnut, I do 60-40, 40%, 60% cellulose sand and sealer, 40% cellulose thinners. And that gives me the same sort of velocity as what that is. Right, so it's just going to buff this up a little, not buff it up, but just denib this with a bit of cloth. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a continuous sheen on the whole piece. So you can see there I've got a bit of a sheen on it. So I'm looking for that all the way around, especially on where the end grain is, where it's more porous. So it's a bit more shiny there, but that's where the harder wood is on this edge here. And as we're coming around there where they're softer, you can see it's a bit more, see it's glossy there, it's a bit more matted there. That's where the end grain is, that's more porous, that's where it sucks in the sand and sealer. That's what we want to seal up, because if we don't seal that properly, when we come to polish it, that's going to be matty and that's going to be glossy, which is not what we want. So I'm going to give that one more coat of sand and sealer to make sure we get that sealed up really nicely. You can see that's just soaking in there really quick. Where that's open. Like I say, this bit of wood has been kicking around for 2 or 3 years. I've been using it for 18 months as a demo piece, so it's definitely dry. But we want it so it's continuous all the way around, so we get at least we've got a good start to get a nice finish on it. And we're only going to be using the embellishing wax to polish it up, so we need to make sure we get it right. I think that'll do. Right, so let's get this polished up. So again, piece of cloth, just gently rub over it. So now we're going to check again. I mean, I don't expect that to be as shiny as that, but I want a sheen on it, and I've got that little sheen on it now. You can just see a sheen on there now. Still not as glossy as that bit there, but I don't expect it to be. But it's definitely much better than it was. Right, so I'm happy with that. So now we can get some gold embellishing wax into it. Hi Susie, how are you? So gold embellishing wax, need to make sure we put enough on to get it into the bottom of the grain, and we need to make sure we work it in really well, because this is designed to fill all the lower grain. So as you can see, it just lays in the lower grain, but you need to obviously put enough on to make sure it lays in is enough to cover the lower grain. So we're going to work this in really well. Like I said, we're going to use this embellishing wax to get a little bit of a sheen on it as well. So making sure we work that right in. So clean bit of tissue. And what we're going to do now is just buff it up like you would if you were just using all wax. So first pass is going to remove all the excess wax, and then we're going to go back and then just buff it up. So that's to remove all the excess wax, which you can see there. And now we're just going to go, don't need to apply no pressure, just let the tissue rub against it and let that just do its magic. We should have a bit of a sheen on there, which we have. There you go. So not a massive shine, just a sheen. We've got a bit of a good finish on it. So let's come on that camera so you can see a little bit better. So you can see there, just there. So just see a nice sheen on it. Right, so that's the outside done. So what we can do now is get rid of these gloves, flip it, and get the middle turned out. Oh no, 10 is too small. No, I'm joking. It's not. What I'm going to do before I do, I'm just going to sharpen my gouge up quickly, because I was using these yesterday or last night, and it's not sharp. So let me just quickly sharpen this up. Just chat amongst yourselves while I sharpen this, and then we'll end up having a nice sharp gouge that should be enough to hollow out the whole piece. No, I didn't, Wayne, and the reason being is because I'm going to do it in my cold jaws. I know I should really learn how to do it the other way, but it always frightens me, because I'm always frightened it's going to jump out. So I'm not quite confident enough yet to do it that way. But I will put it in my cold jaws. I'll get it in my cold jaws. That'll fit in those. So that's the reason I didn't dot the back of it. Yes, I will, Rob. I have just sharpened with a good quality German abrasive belt. Thanks for reminding me anyway, Wayne. But I'm going to do it in my cold jaws, mate. Thank you anyway. Right, so I want that rough centre, so that's a little bit high. So let's just drop that down as a fraction. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this face up, get rid of all this muck off of here. And then I want a nice crisp line on the edge there, so we get a nice tight transition between the colour and natural wood. So I'm going to do a push cut across this because if I do a pull cut I can end up tearing the outside out and I don't want to do that, so I'm going to do a push cut all the way across there. So just remember wherever your bevel's pointing is where it's going to go. So if your bevel's pointing across the lathe at that sort of angle, that's where it's going to go. So we want the bevel pointing directly across our piece like that. So that's what we're going to do. Line it up. Actually, just put you on the camera so you can see. Line it up on there, pick up the cut, and you just gradually take it across our piece. I'm not sure how deep that texturing is, but we'll soon find out. Let's just take that there. Go nice and gentle. Let the tool do all the work. We're just here for the ride. So that'll do. Right, so then I start, just check this edge, just so it should be fine. I will just put a slight chamfer on that edge, so that's cutting in like once we get turned out, and then we can do what we've got to do. Right, so let's start removing this waste in the middle here. A nice gentle cuts. Very dusty this bit of wood. I'm just going to leave that centre in there. So gives me a little bit of stability. I'm just going to check that. Doesn't seem to be cutting very well, that bit of wood. I don't know, that's because I think my belt needs changing on the Pro Edge, to be honest, but let's change another one. I'll sharpen another one. Do both ends of this one and hopefully that'll last then. Let's try that. You can see this one's getting to the end of its life flip. It's getting pretty short now. Alright, let's try that. It's just that the wood's so dry. just going to check the depth. Obviously don't want to go through the bottom of it. Oh, still plenty of meat there. So what I'm aiming to do, camera. Oh yeah, camera. What I want to do is I want to get all the way around there the same thickness, and then whatever I take from here, I know if I keep that the same angle all the way around, I know it's right. So let's take a bit more out of this wall. Right, so that's fairly equal now. So I know if I take 5mm from here and keep the 5mm feed all the way around, it should be equal all the way around. So obviously remembering where the bevel points, bevel's pointing that way, so I'm going to have to bring the tool right over to pick up the cut, and I'm looking for hand and eye coordination of the shape of the back of the bowl. So I'm picking up my cut, and I'm bringing around to the back of and I'm looking at the back of the bowl to try and follow the shape on the outside to match the inside. I want to keep the same cut, thickness of cut all the way around. So we lost it a little bit there. So let's just keep an eye on it. Make sure we got the same thickness. It's a bit thinner there than it is there and there. So we're going to ease off the cut there, from there to there, and then we're going to pick up the cut and just take a little bit more depth out of that. So exactly the same. Pick up the outer edge. We're going to feather that out to there. And then we're going to pick up the cut again there. Oops, there. And take a little bit more out of the bottom. That's better. Much better. So, another one. Right, JP. How you doing, mate? So we're going from there to there. We're a little bit too thick. Happy with that up to there, but from there I start losing it. So I'm just going to pick up that cut here. Just a little bit there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Much happier with that. So I don't want it really thin. It's a big bowl, so you don't want it really thin. I could take one more out of it, just a real skinny pass. So let's get a nice sharp gouge and just take one more final pass out of it. That'll do. So now we just got to take that middle core out. So let's just drop that out. I'll just get rid of that. We'll just finish it off with some push cuts. So just pick up that cut on there. That tool rests a little bit high. Nice and steady to the middle. Nice and steady. Just pop out that little core in the middle there. All right, Huey, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I'm happy. I've just got a little bipple there, a little pip in the middle there. That can come out with a little bit of sanding. Just going to do a little bit of a chamfer on that, like I said I was going to. So I'm just going to push that out there. Nice and gentle, because I don't want to split that edge over. Got a little bit of vibration on there, because that's chattering a little bit. So I may see if I can get away with that with a skew. That's a bit better. That's a little bit better. I want to keep that sharp, not sharp, but keep that nice crisp edge. So alright, so let's get it sanded out. So drill, wherever I've put it. In there somewhere, I see it. Oh my giddy aunt, where's that gone? How can you miss a big green drill? Here it is. Here it is. Bit dirty. Using the other day when I was doing the brakes on the car. Right, so let's get this sanded up. So dust extraction. So I'm going to go outwards because of the way it counteracts against the lathe rotation. Just check that. Bit fluffy there. Let's try a new sanding pad. That's better. You just feel the edge a little bit fluffy. Right, so that's 120. Let's just clean this edge up here. Make sure we've got those little marks out, which we have. Right, so now we can quickly go up to 400 grit. So by keeping that edge there away from that edge there, that will keep that nice sharp corner. If as soon as I come past, it's going to start wrapping around and round that off, and we don't want that. We're in a nice tight line there. So that was 240. I do all my external bowls by hand, but the reason I do the inside with a drill is because I get a much better finish. So final one, 400 grit. So fresh bit of sandpaper. Hi William, how you doing, buddy? So final one, 400 grit. So what I want to do is, because I want to get rid of that, this edge here is going to be a nice, nasty, razor edge sharp edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold the drill at an angle just to remove that sharp edge. But not push hard on it, just, like I say, all it is just to remove that sharp edge. So hopefully that should have got rid of the stain off of it, which it hasn't quite. And like I say, just give it that nasty sharp edge, because it is a sharp edge. We don't want that, because it's not very nice to leave that on there. Right, so that's that finished. So we just clean that out. Clean all the dust out of the grip. Just turn the extraction off. So we get some sand and sealer on that now. I could put an oil on it if I wanted to. Do I put an oil on it? Yeah, let's put an oil on it for a change, rather than a wax. So let's put Danish oil on it, just to finish the inside. Yeah, we have to keep Rob's grandkids in the custom they used to, hey Wayne? Rob's the richest man in the chat. Alright, so this is Hampshire Sheen Danish oil. So we'll give it a couple of coats of this. I'm going to put the first coat on, leave it 10 minutes or so, polish it off, and then I will come back, or then I'll give it another coat, and then we'll leave it, and then I'll give it another coat tonight, and then leave it overnight, and then come back and buff it all up, and maybe give it a couple of coats tomorrow. But we want to try and get that little edge on there, but not slur it over our red. So just give it a nice wax finish, oil finish, sorry, not wax, oil finish. Let's say give that a few minutes, and then I'll just wipe that off and give that another coat. So that'll dry up nicely, soak in. May raise the grain a little bit, but we can always denib it back once we give it a coat. Soak it in really well. It's really porous, that bit of wood. So we'll just give that a few minutes to soak in. Just need dry. It's that porous. Let's give it another coat. Alright, there we go. That'll do. Right. So it's definitely raised the grain a little bit on that. But we can get some shavings and just burnish that once that dries a little bit. So I've got some shavings here. Just going to burnish that back a little bit. Like I say, there's a few fluffy bits in the middle there. Let's raise the grain a little bit. That's better. It's much, much better. I'll just give that another coat. And that'll be it for tonight, I think. Alright, so I think we're going to do this, and that's going to be all I'm going to oil it for tonight. I'll let that soak in before I go to work tomorrow. I'll come in and just buff it up and give it another coat, and then that should be enough then. So just remember, your tissue with your oil on it, or what you've used with your oil on it, don't leave it in shavings or put it on in your bin, because it can catch light as it's drying. So if you can, chuck it in your fire or a log burner, or put it somewhere safe to let it dry. Once it's dry, then you can just throw it into a normal bin. But I always throw mine in my workshop log burner as I'm going out the door. So if it does catch light, it doesn't matter. And we don't want anybody's workshop burning down, that's for sure. So just be aware of any oils, because they do cause a thermal reaction as they cure. Right, so I think, again, that's nearly dry, that is. That's soaking up really quickly. But there we go, just a basic bowl. Yeah, sorry, I was reading the chat. Yeah, so just like I say, it's more about testing the internet tonight rather than anything else. It's flushed my oily rags down the toilet. Is that how you get oily tuna? Right, so I'm going to leave that to dry. And then, like I say, I'll give that another coat of oil before I go to work tomorrow. And then that will be ready to mount in the cold jaws and turn the tenon off. But like I say, got rid of that sharp edge. Nice colour. Let's take it out so you can have a proper look at it. So we got that nice ruby red with the gold in it. So we've got a nice colour on the back. This will be natural. I'll turn this back so this is natural when we take the tenon off. And then a nice oily finish on the inside. I keep thinking that's a dink out of the wood there, but that's actually in the grain, that is, which is strange. Like a little white blemish in the grain there. But yeah, nice piece, nice grain on it. Like I say, this I started using this, got to be 18 months ago as a demo piece. So I thought it was about time that I let's zoom out a little bit. I thought it was about time I actually used it as a proper, rather than wasting it and throwing it away. Thought I'd use it as a proper piece. So start another project. No, JP. What, this time of night? No, not this time of night. Sorry. Thank you very much, though, JP. Appreciate it. Like I say, it was more about testing the internet tonight than anything else. So let's leave that on there. Put that back up there out of the way. Get rid of all these stuff. Put this stuff away. Put all these gouges away. Oops. Like I say, the reason I'm on tonight is because I'm not here tomorrow night. I am at Dis Woodturners tomorrow. I'm looking for that button there. Yeah, I'm at Dis Woodturners tomorrow, demonstrating. So that's why I said I'd come on tonight. And then when Brian said he wasn't on anyway, I thought, perfect, I'll come on instead. And then that kills two birds with one stone. Because like I say, I wanted to test it ready for when I actually do come back. It won't be next week, because next Thursday and Friday I'm demonstrating both nights, so I won't be on next Friday. But hopefully after that we'll be back to some sort of normality, if I'm not demonstrating on a Friday night. So hopefully the internet's been good. Hopefully there's been no glitches, there's been no flickering on pictures. Pictures been good quality, the sound's been good. So if that has, then let me know, because then we know we're on the right route. Like I say, I did a speed test before we come live, and it seemed to be stable and constant. So, like I say, hopefully, oh, Barry's just put in a good live in. That has been good, mate. Hopefully, it's perfect. Thank you, Barry. So yeah, so hopefully we've cracked it, because it really annoyed me a little bit, because I like to pride myself on a good quality picture. So it annoyed me a little bit that we was glitchy and horrible, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. But anyway, hopefully we've overcome it and we've cured it. Good. Yeah, so like I say, don't forget Pete on Sunday is announcing a hashtag. And then, as always, if you send me the pictures, Pete will give you all the details. Then I'll do a montage in a couple of weeks' time, like I did for the mallet. And everybody who took part in the hashtag Mallet Week, thank you very much. Some really nice and inspiring pieces there. If you haven't had chance to view the hashtag Mallet video with everybody's contribution on it, then go over on my channel. It's on there, hashtag Mallet. You can't miss it. And then you'll see some of the awesome pieces that everybody has made. Some large mallets, some little mallets, carving mallets, all different types of mallets. So it was nice to see everybody's interpretation. So hopefully we'll see the same on the next hashtag as well. So it's really nice to see people taking part and having a go. It's really good to see. Making things, but it must be yellow and black. If you hadn't noticed, Rob's got a yellow fetish. Yeah, definitely a yellow fetish. But anyway, got nothing else to tell you, really. No news. Exactly, Jenny. If you don't enjoy it, what's the point of doing it? Exactly. So I have lots of people come here for lessons, and they get too engrossed in it. They get too frustrated with it. And I say to them, if you don't enjoy it, step away, have a break, come back when you do enjoy it, because there's no point doing it if you don't enjoy it. So yeah, good. Yeah, so other than that, I think we're going to call it. I know it's been a quick live. Like I said, it was more about testing the internet. But other than that, I appreciate each and every one of you guys coming over and joining me. Like I say, I do apologise that I haven't been around lately, but unfortunately, life has got in the way. I've had so much going on with changing jobs and doing other stuff and other projects on the go, so it's been quite busy. And I don't know when it's going to ease up, but hopefully it's going to ease up soon. But it's for my future, so I need to push. So that's why I've been taking a little bit of a backseat from social media. So yeah, but I will be here when I can be here, and that's what I've always said. I've always said to you guys from day one when I started doing lives, while I still enjoy it, I'll carry on doing them, and when I can do them, I'll do them. But unfortunately, I can't put my life on hold for them, because there are some things that are a little bit more important in life than YouTube. But saying that, you guys are important. So without you guys, the channel wouldn't be where it is, and I wouldn't have the subscribers and everything else that I've got. So I do appreciate everybody's contribution and help and support and this, that, and the other. So hence why I'm here tonight. So anyway, guys, thank you very much, Jenny. Appreciate that. So thank you very much, everybody else who's been in and joined and commented and we've had a chat. Hope you've enjoyed it. I will get a picture of this up once I finish it. Like I say, I will oil the inside of that tomorrow before I go to work again. As you can see, that's virtually bone dry already. And then I'll get the tenon turned off. Might not be till the weekend, but once I get it done, I will clean the tenons off and I'll get some pictures up on social media, and then you guys can see the finished piece. But other than that, thank you very much for coming over. And I will catch you on the next one. But don't forget, Pete from Twisted Trees is on Sunday. I know it's 7 or half 7, Pete. But he's put his link in a couple of times. So if you're not already subscribed to Pete's channel, go over and subscribe to it so you get a notification when Pete goes live or when he puts up his next thumbnail for his next live. And do the same for Wayne as well, and any of the other guys who have got channels in the chat. JP, Wayne, who else is in who's got a channel? Huey, I think that's about it, who's in the chat. 7:30 Peters, and go and support them as guys as well. So other than that, I'm going to see you on the next one. Take care, speak to you soon, and bye for now. Have a great night, folks. Bye.
That's all, folks.